Yeah, we are live, bro. We can start.
Hello guys, this is Pradeep. I hope you can see my screen. Along with me, we have a Kranti in the house. So please do drop your queries or any type of questions in the chat. We will pick it up and will answer. Okay, so today's topic will be global exception handler or exception handling. You can say. Okay. I hope Kranti, my voice is audible. Yeah. Uh, so so let's start. So I'm just gonna create a sample process. Let's say exception handling. Okay, so let's say what is global exception handler? It's a similar type of what do you say template or like RE framework or flowchart sequence and RE framework state machine template. So it has some inbuilt functions, predefined variables or arguments. You can say like that. And it basically what it does is it handles error encountered within the project or within the flow. When an error occurs, when an error occurs wherever in the project, it redirects to global exception handler flow. So let's say I'm going to create a simple workflow. Let's say I'm calling notepad or any, let's say, read range. This is my activity I'm calling. I'm going to pass simple dummy data, some dummy path range. Okay. So of course this is going to give me an error saying the incorrect path or something like that. Let's try that. Yeah, so as you can see, we are getting the workbook does not exist. I'll stop the bot. So as I told earlier, within if you can define if there is an area, any error exception or exception occurs within the flow or any project, we can redirect to global exception handler flow. So let's create one. You can see from new you can create or select the global handler. I'm going to create. Yeah, as you can see here, we have certain functions inbuilt. So let's say ErrorInfo. These are arguments. ErrorInfo is a type of exception handler arguments, and the result is error action type of argument. And we have a set of variables which are predefined, like answer, string, and the retry number is 0. Yeah, integer type. And what it does is, as you can see, we have a certain error action. You can define it in here. So continue, as its exception is whenever I continue or ignore, retry about. So let's talk about here. So what happens is, as you can see, it defined it will stop the process. You can define it here like error action dot about, and retry it will retry as we mentioned here, and it will ignore that particular exception and continues for the next activity. It's nothing but like continue on error type and properties, and this exception is rethrown. It's like a rethrow activity. Okay, let's say I'm just going to give a breakpoint here. We'll do a step into. We will. So let's say I want to say about one more thing. So we have a global handler. You can set only one. You can use only one global handler for one project, or let's say we can create another file saying dummy the global handler, global exception handler. You can set this as a global exception handler, and also you can define it your own retry mechanism, everything here. So let's go with our inbuilt global handler. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run this in a debug mode. I'm going to see what happens. We'll see what happens. Yeah, so we got an error. It will directly redirect to this flow. See, we are in this flow. So it will log the error information saying this workbook does not exist, as you can see. We'll minimize this. So now it is going to check the condition. If error_info.retrycount, let's check the error_info retry count here. Error_info.retrycount. Now you can see error_info is retry count is 0. So it is 0 less than 3. What it will do? It is going to retry again for the first time, second time. It will go back to the main flow. See, we are here. It's going to retry again. Come again. Now let's check the error_info retry count again. See, now it has been incremented. So what it will do? It will retry as mentioned in here. It will retry for the twice. We'll continue again. Again, we got an error. Log it and check the condition and increment the retry number. If you want to check, let's check one more time. It's 2. It's going to run one more time. So now again 3 less than 3. If we could have write a proper condition is equal to 3, we could have tried one more time. So we landed in else part. So error action is equal to abort. So it is going to kill the process. With proper log message, the workbook does not exist. That's it. So let's see what are all the other methods we can handle the exception handling. So this is the global handler. You can define your own conditions, when to abort or when to retry, when to ignore. So let's try replace with ignore here. If retry is less than or equal to 0, okay, it is going to ignore. Let's try it. Not supplied. Okay. So let's give another condition. ErrorInfo dot retry count is less than 1. Okay, as you can see, we did not provide a root activity, not supplied. Okay, let's debug and run. It will ignore. That's so what happened, we got an error within this block and it redirected to global exception for handler, and it matches the condition here and it got ignored. And what you can write when whatever the condition based on your project requirements and handle. I think this is the best method to handle the exception. So apart from that, we do have for like trycatch. I hope you heard of it. Trycatch. Okay, so let's say we can see there is a 3 blocks: try, catch, and finally. So let's say we are reading or we are following, we're doing some set of functions within the try block, and we got an error, and we need to log that and do certain set of function at the end. So for that, I'm going to use the same method, same read range, test, blah, let's say ping, and so you can define here. You can define any type of exception. This is a system exception I'm going to catch now. So what I'm going to do is I'll just log the message. You can define it here, error. You can see I'm just passing this variable exception dot message, or you can use source also. I'm just going to use a message here dot string, or it is as a string only. And so what will happen is, so it's going to read. So it will obviously we are going to catch some exception here, and it will catch it in this particular system exception catch block. And once this is done, we are going to it will going to come in the final part, so you can perform whatever the action is required. So anyway, it will come to the final block. So let's say this is final block. So what I'm going to do is I'm just run this. So we got an error there. So it is captured in exception block, I mean catch block, logged, and this is final block. Okay. And now let's see how we can make use of throw and rethrow activity. Okay. Throw. Let's do if condition before that, and I'm going to remove that. Assign something, control K is equal to test. If I'm just going to define the business rule exception here. Let's say A is equal to test. So of course it is going to fail. So if this condition fails, I'm going to log or throw a business exception using throw activity, saying new business rule exception condition not matched. Okay, so this is business rule exception, and I'm going to define the same in catch block. I'm sorry for that. So business, here I'm going to declare the same log message, and the final block remains same. Let's run this flow. So we are in the try block. A is equal to test, and if condition will fail, I think I should have put in else part. My bad. So let me add it in else part. So we are in the else part saying the throw activity. It's going to throw the message saying condition not matched. So it is going to capture it in we landed in a global exception handler. Final block. Okay. So we are using global exception handler. Let me disable that. How do I disable? Just going to remove handler now. So I'm going to run again. So we got an error and it will catch it in the business rule exception block within the trycatch activity. So we're going to log that same as whatever we defined saying condition not matched and the final block. Okay. And let's see how we can make use of rethrow activity. I'm going to keep the same activities as previous. I'm going to use rethrow here. Now let's say we are using let's use business exception, global exception handler here. Okay. So we're going to rethrow the same error. So what actually happens, what is the use of rethrow? Rethrow actually, basically it rethrows an exception occurred within the catch block if it is not able to handle to the parent trycatch. You can make use of, you can do another trycatch for this, like parent trycatch, make use of it, or now I'm using the global handler. Let's see how it acts. So got error. Okay, I should remove that. Okay, so I'm going to use it as a trycatch block itself. I'm going to create another trycatch, parent trycatch. Control T. I'm going to throw a message box. Try block. I'm going to disable the global handler. We try. And we have not defined any result. I'm going to define a business rule here again. Capturing the same exception dot message. So what happens, it will catch it here, rethrow the same exception, and the parent trycatch will catch that error, and we can handle that part of particular exception and the main part of main trycatch. So let's see how it will work. So let's ignore the first message box. We got error. So go step into. So we are going to land in this box, and in this catch block. Rethrow the same exception. You can see in output panel. Rethrow condition not matched. Okay, this is the child by child trycatch. Say we are logged it. We are in the main block. We are in the main try. Where we are in the main parent catch block. We are going to populate the same message block condition not matched. So what happened here is whenever we are using rethrow, it will catch the previous exception which was not able to handle it in any other try catch blocks. We can handle it within the parent try catch. So we're gonna end there. Yeah. So these are all the exception handling. One is using try catch, rethrow, and throw activities, and another one is the global exception handler. Yeah. This is it for today's session. I hope we are good. And if you have any questions, please do let us know in the comment section. We will answer it.
Pradeep, we have a question from Varun.
Okay.
If the exception occurs in catch, will the final section be executed?
Yes. What's your name?
Varun.
Hi, Varun. Yeah. Thanks for your question. And yes, it will go to the final block, even if it is. 1 second. Let me check the question. Even if there is any exception within the block, or if there is any exception occurs within the try block, it will catch there, and it will navigate to final block. And even if it doesn't get any exception, it will directly go to the final block. And do we have any other questions?
No, Pradeep.
Okay. We'll wait for 2 more minutes.
Okay.
Let's Kranti, I think we can end the session. I'll pick it up the question if there is any question in the chat.
Yeah, Pradeep.
Okay. Thank you guys. Thanks for your joining.